So how do you avoid burnout? Perhaps you're watching this video because you stumbled upon it on YouTube or on another social media platform. Because as an entrepreneur, you're probably thumbing through late at night and you're exhausted. You started a business and now it's consuming you. You're probably working anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week, 7 days a week. Forget about your health, you're probably getting unhealthy, putting on an extra weight, feeling that fogginess, maybe not even getting enough sleep. You were told that by sleeping 3-4 hours a night, that's what all the greats do. That's what Elon Musk does. That's what Richard Branson does. That's what all these crazy super uber entrepreneurs do. So you thought that maybe you just had to sacrifice more time and figure out doing everything in your business, and that's why you're not enjoying what you're doing for your business anymore. If I'm right, stick on all the way to the end of this video. I'm gonna share with you what experiences I've learned. My name is Desmond Soon, and for the last several years, not only have I worked with a multi-millionaire, one of my mentors, his name is Dan Locke, I've also been asked to consult and advise entrepreneurs, especially those under the $1 million mark, how to grow and scale their businesses. And the reason, number one reason we see entrepreneurs fail and burn out is because they lack a team. They are trying to have what Peter Vu calls the Superman syndrome. They are trying to be everything, the cook, the bottle washer, the janitor. They're trying to be the waiter, the front office manager. They're trying to do everything in their business. This goes for online as well as offline. And we all know the statistics, so I'm not gonna be cliche here and quote you all the statistics that we see about the 4% and the 96%. We know those numbers, but how do you avoid being in those statistics? The first thing that you need to step back and even watch this video all the way to the end, because I know your time is precious because you don't have time. You see, in business, you can grow a business either with these two resources, either time or money. If you have lots of time, you can build a business even if you lack money, because you can put in a lot of sacrifice, your time, and that's what most of you are doing. On the other hand, you may have money, and what you do with that money is you actually pay people to do things. Now, if you don't have time or money, you're screwed. Let's just face it. If you have both, fantastic. But I'm gonna assume that you're watching this video because you're burning out, you're working way too much, and you're not delegating enough. And I know you've heard this before. You've probably even read the book, E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which talks about working on the business instead of in the business. Okay, give me a break. What does that mean? Desmond, I'm stressing out. I'm working too much because I'm starting on a shoestring here. I have to figure everything out. I gotta build a website. I gotta do accounting. I gotta do marketing. I gotta figure out legal. People are calling me. I'm missing messages. I gotta send out email marketing and yada, yada, yada. And it all goes on. You're trying to do everything. You don't have a right-hand person. You're trying to wake up earlier in the morning. You're trying to sleep later at night because you're trying to do everything. You're trying to figure out your graphics. You're trying to do your video marketing. You're trying to do everything. Stop. If I can compress down the knowledge that I've learned over the years from all the famous entrepreneurs, and we're not talking the billionaires, I'm talking about those that even just made it to the $1 million mark. What they did was they all started where you are right now, and that was being a solopreneur. And that solopreneur, you're doing everything, correct? Then what happened was, somewhere along the way, they stumbled upon a mentor. They read a book. They watched and suddenly observed, an epiphany happened for them, and they suddenly realized, hey, I can actually delegate. I may be good at some things, but I'm not good at everything. And there's some things I absolutely dread doing my business. There's some of us that really hate doing taxes and the finances, and we know how important it is to know our numbers and have reports and figure things out, but we just don't have the time, nor maybe do we have the passion to do it. It's very soul-sucking and draining for us to focus on doing those reports. But there are people out there, believe it or not, who are really good at it, and they don't want to do what you do. They don't have the creativity that you have. They don't have the vision that you have, but they're really good at doing these very mundane tasks or very repetitive tasks that need a lot of detail that you may not want to do. And those people, God bless them, thank you very much, they love to do these tasks. So if you reward them, you hire them, it buys you back your time. And that time allows you to go focus in the areas, your strengths, the areas that you were destined to put your energy into, to go grow the business. As an entrepreneur, it is your responsibility to bring in and attract talent to your business, to find the resources, and to also paint the vision of your team. You are not a true entrepreneur if you're not building a business that can eventually, potentially, one day be sold, even if you never want to sell your business. At this current stage right now, that concept may never even cross your mind. You might be thinking, I'm building this is gonna be my one and only baby all the way to the end. I've got news for you. A mentor of mine named Dan Locke, we conducted an event called the Smart Challenge. I co-host that together with him, and we talked to entrepreneurs of all varying levels. People who are just getting started, haven't even made $10,000 yet, to those who have made 100,000, to many even those that have made millions, 10 millions, and even 50 million, and they still come and pay attention to what he has to say. And the reason is because at every different stage, for every level, there's another devil. And I can guarantee you one of the number one things that happens, that trips up all entrepreneurs, is teams. How do you build a team? That's gonna be absolutely critical. In business, there's so many things you gotta focus on, but as an entrepreneur, there are 3 areas that will kill a business. You run out of cash flow, you run out of clients, or you don't know how to have the right team. No successful business out there in the world was ever done by just the one person. There was always a team around them, whether they were mentors, whether they were advisors, whether they were consultants, or even external contractors. Now, Dan has a great video on this. I highly recommend it. In fact, I'm gonna put it up here. Go check it out. He has a great video out there called How to Build a Dream Team as an Entrepreneur. So click that I button, go check that video out. He even talks about this. We talked about it during the Smart Challenge, those circle, the onion of all the different levels of advisors. So as an entrepreneur, I'm just gonna assume right now you're by yourself. One of the first things, an actionable item that you can do from watching this video, is start looking for a VA. Even if your team becomes now a team of 2. There's so many different sites. I'll make recommendations. I'll put some links below. There are so many VAs out there that you can delegate and offset tasks to. Something magical happens. The moment you have a team member, all of a sudden now you have to hold yourself accountable. But I know that the average entrepreneur, many of you, the solopreneurs, you like hiding away from responsibility. Maybe you quit your job and you thought, oh, I wanna just be an entrepreneur. You get this entrepreneurial seizure, as Michael Gerber talks about, and you want to work from home. But guess what? Don't lie to yourself. You actually wanted to run away from responsibility. When you had to show up at an office, when you had to work at a company, someone held you accountable. But now all of a sudden, hey, you've got this freedom, laptop lifestyle, work from the beach, work from home. But then you've got no one to report to. No one's reporting to you. So you wake up late. You work too many hours. You do everything yourself. There's 2 sides to the spectrum. But when you have a team member, you now have to start thinking, what do I delegate to them? How do I have follow-up processes? Are they doing the work correctly? You need to come up with actual processes. So the number one thing you can take away from this video is get an assistant. Get someone who's organized. Understand your own personality. Take personality surveys like the Culture Index or Strength Finders or DISCs. Understand what your strength is. When you know what your strengths are, you can know what tasks you don't want to do. Another way of doing this without taking the surveys is actually make a list of everything that you have been doing up till now in your business. Indicate, maybe it's 20 things on your list. Indicate which are the top 5 things you actually enjoy doing, have no problem doing, and want to do more of. And look at the other 75% of the other items on your list and figure out what type of personality would do well with those items. Those are the things that you want to hire someone and delegate to them. But wait, Desmond, I can't hire anyone. I'm on a shoestring budget. Again, it goes back to those 3 things that Dan Locke, my mentor, mentions about. As an entrepreneur, our role as a company business owner, you are also responsible for finding the resources, the talent. It is up to you to go and get those resources. So it's up to you to actually produce some sales. So most entrepreneurs, they fail at doing this because actually sales is one of your weakest sides. You got into business, you want to do everything else except the sales. So let me just hire a salesperson. You just want to abdicate that to a salesperson. And guess what? You're not doing very well at sales. So I hate to break it to you, but if you're an entrepreneur, you're not going anywhere if you yourself don't at least, I'm not saying you should be a world-class closer or professional business owner that's doing sales, but you should know at least some basic sales. Why? Because when you know that your own team can't pull the wool and the sheepskin over your head. You know what they're doing, whether that makes sense or not. You're able to audit and listen to some of their calls until you can hire a manager to actually do that. You can actually listen in. Hey, I like what this person's doing. If I was back 5 years ago and I was getting started, what's the mistake that I would repair very quickly? I wouldn't be a solopreneur. I wasted so much time being a solopreneur for so many years. And yes, it made me a multiple 6-figure income for a certain period of time, but I burnt out. Here's what I would do. The 2 people I would bring into my life immediately. Number 1, a right hand, and not even a VA. I actually call that right hand an executive assistant that helps to hold me accountable. This is just my personality. That makes a list of all my to-dos that I have a booked schedule with them to communicate once a day, non-negotiable. There's a penalty. I even create a penalty for myself. If I don't communicate with that individual once a day, then I have to pay a penalty. So I hold myself accountable. I use these systems because I might be undisciplined at times too. I might feel sleepy. I might feel sick. I may not feel like it, but the system and having someone hold me accountable forces me to follow that system. So I communicate with that executive assistant and I select an individual who I know has the discipline, who's very detailed and can give me a list of to-do things. That person, that coach, that executive assistant, it can be an external coach, whether it's once a week. I would also find a mentor in my life. So one is more of your assistant, the other one's your mentor. And your mentor can have a different type of cadence, whether you're speaking to them once a week, once a month, once a quarter. Find a mentor in your life. That constitutes your very first team. Your advisors could be someone like your CPA, your accountant, your bookkeeper to get your finances in order. And then if you have a little bit more funds, because you got some sales coming in, you've got a growing, budding business, you got some cash flow coming in, the next thing I would look at is having advisors in the marketing side of things and the sales side of things. You want to have advisors who can advise you on marketing. Don't try to do all the marketing yourself, but don't abdicate all the marketing either. Don't just hand it off and say, oh, you go figure it out. No, it's your business. You need to know some of it. Now, before I continue, this is also where the needle swings to the other side of the spectrum. Many of you are micromanaging your teams. You are the bottleneck of your business. You are strangling and choking your business to death. Why? This is what I mentioned at the start of this video, and that was Peter Vu. Peter Vu has done very, very well. In fact, he's got a book called 6 Months to Six Figures. Great book. In fact, there's an interview with him and Sean Cannell from Video Influencers, another great friend of mine as well too. I'm going to post that link in the description below and also up here in the I button. Check out that video where what Peter Vu shares in his interview about growing and building teams. Because I can tell you the Superman syndrome all of us entrepreneurs want to do is we want to come in and say, get out of the way, get out of the way. We want to be the problem solver, right? Leave it to me. If it's going to be done, if it's going to be done, it has to be done by me. And that's actually what's killing your business. That's why you can't scale more than 6 figures or 7 figures. So, biggest takeaway, biggest action items. Step back, look at your schedule, look at what you have right now. If you don't even have a sales team, if you don't even have an executive assistant, if you don't have a mentor, if you don't even have an accountant, a bookkeeper, start with that. Start with that. We're not talking about you building a company and having an office and putting a bunch of money out there and getting rent and all that stuff. You can work remotely. These days, working remotely using Slack or Telegram or WhatsApp or some sort of chat group, using project management tools like ClickUp or Monday or Asana, any of these tools. If you have an executive assistant to help hold you accountable, you can actually run a virtual or remote team, a company around the world. You might just be a 3-person team or 4-person team, and that can actually help you scale to 7 figures. When you get to 7 figures, it's going to be a different animal, and what got you there will not get you to the next level. We can talk about that in the next video. If you found this video helpful or you want to know more information, you want me to dive deeper into this topic, comment below. Let me know at what stage of the business you're in right now. If your question is a good question, I'll feature it in the next video. I might even be able to reply to you and let you know what you might need to focus on, or perhaps I might be able to point you in the right direction, recommend some books or even some people that you may need to speak to in order to expand your context, expand your world, start to associate with other business owners who are ahead of you, who pull you up. And when you see how they're operating, how they have teams, you may not get there overnight, but it may take you 3 months, 6 months, a year to put that team together. But you got to start thinking about that right now. Not just every day being reactionary, oh, I got to go find customers. You need to be building these 3 things at the same time too. Your cash flow, and that comes from when you make sales, your clients, that comes from your marketing, and your teams. You need to build your teams. This is one of the things that trips up all entrepreneurs, and they go out of business. They don't make it to that 4% because they don't build teams. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, turn on the bell notification. I'll see you in the next video.